I can remember back to a younger age when everyone and everything seemed so very interesting. The girls that lived in my neighborhood were the most fascinating since they were a few years older than me. I loved listening to every little detail of their lives as I watched the drama of being a teenager unfold in front of me. I had a notebook that I would write down all the fun and fascinating things that I observed from these girls. My notebook had everything from cool music they were listening to the boys they were dating, to what was and was not cool to wear. My idea of keeping a notebook came from reading one of my favorite books, Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. Harriet is a very inquisitive young girl who writes everything about everyone in her notebook, good and bad. She observes those in her class and her friends. She also takes a spy route, observing those in her neighborhood. Throughout the story, Harriet learns some important life lessons about manners, journal writing, honesty, school life, and understanding herself and others. This book made me realize that things are not always what they seem. If you do not keep a close eye, you may miss out on very important details. Most importantly, that a personal journal in the hands of the wrong person can become a very scary and nerve-wracking situation. For those of you whom have not read this story, Harriet is an only child living in New York City. She attends an all-girls school and has a few close friends. Harriet is close with her nanny since her parents are away and working most of the time. With Harriet being an only child, she fills her day with reading and writing in her spy notebook. She carries the notebook with her everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. She writes every thought and question in her notebook and never allows anyone else to read it. However, one day, one of her classmates got their hands on her notebook, and that's when the situation started to unravel. Her journal was picked apart piece by piece until she was left feeling very alone and alienated by her friends and classmates. Harriet looked to her nanny, Old Golly, for wisdom and advice through her troubling times. She was taught the lesson of what is and is not okay to say about someone, even if it was written in a personal journal. She learned important lessons from having her journal publicized. Without her journal, Harriet felt very unbalanced, as if her thoughts could no longer flow out of her mind as they did when she wrote all of her thoughts down. Old Golly passed on wisdom, explaining that even though she felt alone, it didn't mean the world would stop turning. Harriet learned a great lesson about being careful about what you say or write about others, even if it is only for you to see. Golly explained that she needed to believe in who she was and take pride in being unique. Although I no longer keep a journal, I still believe that it is important to be able to write out your thoughts and figure out what you really are feeling about situations in your life. It helps to write things out, to go back and look over past obstacles and learn about whom you are as a person. I encourage everyone to read Harriet the Spy. It holds great lessons in a fun, spunky packaged life of an 11-year-old in New York. Just remember, if you write down personal and possibly mean things about someone, you better make sure that your journal doesn't fall into the wrong hands.